The federal government says there is no collective bargaining agreement between it and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, that's currently awaiting President Muhammadu Buhari's signature.
Indeed. In a statement by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, he says even when such a collective bargaining agreement is produced between unions and the federal government, it is not the president that signs for the government side and MDAs led by the direct employer with the conciliating ministry witnessing. The minister says the clarification has become needed in view of the deliberate misinformation being dished out to Nigerians by ASUU calling on President Buhari to sign an agreement which they claim to have reached with the federal government. Well, let's bring in the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, otherwise known as ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke. Thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight. I want to believe that you listened to the Minister of Labour moments ago on this conversation of the lingering strike. If you did listen to that conversation, let's start with your reaction. First, it says there's no agreement that has been reached. And he says, some monies have been paid and you cannot hold down the government as well as the people.
Thank you very much. I listened to the minister very well. And for the Nigerians who have watched, you can see why we have problems in the labor sector in Nigeria. We expect the minister to be calm and talk to Nigerians, giving the facts and truth. So I will not follow his trend. Well, let it be known that this process of negotiating in the academic sector is a product of a Sinupe report long ago during Babangida era. And using that procedure, we have done more than 3 agreements with government. Federal government will set up a panel on behalf of government to negotiate with the unions, ASUU another union in the system. We had that in 2009, headed by Emmanuel Osodeke, and in 2017, the same government, the federal government, directed the Minister of Education to, on behalf of the government, set up a panel to negotiate with ASUU on all the issues. That panel started with Babalaki as the chairman and other members. And like he rightly said, in that panel, you have advisors and you have those who are observers. The advisors include those, the Minister of Education. In this panel, the representative is Emmanuel Osodeke. The representative of Minister of Labour, the minister who is speaking so, were represented by a lady called Franca Adiekwe, the minister, and they attended the meeting from the beginning to the end, made their input, and we expect they would have gone back and reported to their principal, which is the minister. But from what the way the minister is speaking, like they didn't report to him, and he didn't bother to ask them what we discussed. In that panel, you have the Executive Secretary of NUC, you have the Executive Secretary of Tech Fund, and then you have the Chairman of University, Vice Chancellor of the University, among others, headed by the Chairman of the Pro-Chancellor of Nigerian Universities. That was the panel that was going to discuss with us all through from 2017. You can imagine, this negotiation had been on since 2017, 5 years ago. And we have not concluded because of the Minister of Labour, as you have seen his demonstration. You see, we're not discussing with Minister of Labour. Minister of Labour was supposed to be a conciliator when we have problems with our minister, an independent, unbiased conciliator. But from what you are speaking now, your father is very biased. So that is the problem we've had with the negotiation. Recently he seized the process. He seized the process, but when he got tired and stopped our salary for 5 months, he told us 2 months ago when he presented that we should go back to our minister and finish the negotiation, which we did. With all the group I have mentioned there, part of the team. And the main team is made up of this present team by Professor Nimi Briggs, a renowned professor, Senator Chris Adigije, a senator, a former senator, Professor Olu Obafemi, a world-renowned professor, amongst others. And we concluded our renegotiation. And he tied them with renegotiation. When we are finished, they were supposed to go back to the government. We don't have anything to do with the Minister of Labour. They are supposed to go back with the government and say, this is what we have negotiated. Do you agree? If the government does not agree, what are the issues? If you have issues, not bring back to the table to look at it again with the panel, not to the Minister of Labour, which is what he has hijacked and had destroyed. That is why we are here today. So our children are at home today because the Minister of Labour, this is not the first Minister of Labour we have discussed with. When you enter this office, you have more than 20 past Minister of Labour. We have discussed more than 10. We have not seen anyone who will not come and take over the process the way he's doing. And that's why we have the president. The last time we have a Minister of Labour, a gentleman. And at the end, we also met with the president. Remember, Jonathan. We met with the president and we sorted out the issue. But this one want to be the president in charge of Labour. I don't think it's fair. We have met with our minister. I thought this meeting, we will be meeting between we. You should have invited the Minister of Education, not the Labour. We have not been the Minister of Labour. You should have invited the Minister of Education to tell you what we have done. Not him, because he doesn't know. He just talked. Two, we have never said President Buhari should sign an agreement. It's the president who will direct, who will sign on his behalf. That's what we have said. I don't know where he got the other one from. It is the president that will direct the committee to sign on behalf of government, not the president signing. Look at our past agreement, they're very clear. 2009 was signed by Emmanuel Osodeke on behalf of the government. So when he got the idea that the union said ASUU should sign, a president must sign the agreement, I am really surprised that at this level we are still talking about such a thing. So that is where we are. Okay. As far as concerned, we have renegotiation. If government have issue, they should come back to the table and we'll look at it. Not the Minister of Labour going to the public and start castigating the panel and castigating the union.
Your point's been well made and well understood. But 3 weeks ago, you actually said, negotiations were in top gear and at an advanced stage. And the minister himself has said by next week, some clarity, some progress really should be made based on the reports that they have. Now, I wonder what your reaction is when the minister says that any university lecturers that go back to the classroom, like the medical lecturers have done and all of that, they will be paid. How would you react to that?
You see, the idea of the minister was that if he holds our salary for 5 months, all of us will come begging him. But we as a union of intellectuals, we have gone beyond that. He can hold it for 10 years. We are not talking about salary. If you look at our discussion, we are talking about salary. We are fighting for the Nigerian education system. If our system is good, why are the minister and the senator, why are they sending their children abroad? Why are they not putting in Nigerian universities? That is the question we should ask the Minister of Labour. Why are we running away from this country? How many foreign lecturers do you have in Nigerian university? Go to Ghana, you have so many. Because they have the facilities. They have proper pay. What is the budgetary allocation of Nigerian government to education? 5.4%. Ghana, 20%. So it's not about how much you are selling of crude oil. Crude oil is diminishing. That's not what we're talking about. Give a recommended budget allocation to education as you have in our neighbors like South Africa and Ghana, where they give no less than 16%. So don't tell us the oil this we are selling 5, we are selling 2. That is not what we're saying. Nigeria give the lowest budget allocation to education, and that's why our university are the way it is. Our polytechnic are the way they are. So we want to appeal to the government that they should give the appropriate budgetary allocation to education. We should not talk about crude oil, talk about tax, talk about this. And two, the minister was saying the allocation of this is the same. All the minister was saying, when they increase the salary of people in NITDA, did they carry others along? When they increase their own salary, did they carry others along? When they increase the salary of police, did they carry everybody along? When the salary earned by NNPC, common fund, does the professor earn the salary of a messenger in NNPC? Does the professor earn the salary of a messenger in Central Bank? So when he comes that we are doing all of that, because
the minister actually says he would rather you lecturers are paid well, as high as 1 million instead of the 500 pittance that lecturers are getting. Very quickly.
Check. You see, I hope you should have a friend who is a lecturer. I'm a lecturer. I have been a professor now. This is 13 years of my professorship. 13 years. My salary is 400,000 naira. You can check any of your colleagues at the top. I have been at the bar for the past 8 years. This is the lie. This is how they lie to the public. You have to tell the public the truth, the way it is. You can ask any professor, ask anybody. Look for the salary wage of the professor. So you go and tell the public to misinform the public just because you want to ensure that the system, your children are not in the school, you don't have any stake. Tell the minister to produce the pay slip of his friend and brother relation who he mentioned that in the university, and look what their pay slip is 1 million naira.
We can really hope for the best, especially with next week's meeting that the minister spoke about.
I think we need to clarify. The minister did not say that lecturers are getting 1 million. He's saying if he had his way, he'd have lecturers earn 1 million as against the 500 or so.
Lecturers,
professors, sorry. You know, what professors are getting now. So let's, you know, get that clarified.
But Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, President of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, we really appreciate your time on the news tonight. Thank you.